Hi, and welcome to the Dark Arts toolsets. I'll just be giving you a quick walkthrough, some of the tools, and just a few ideas in regards to the workflows inside the Dark Arts. Okay, so this is version 2.0, and I'll show you, start you off with just one of the cool basic tools that it's probably an action that you've done like a million times, and you probably always hope that there'd be something that would just simplify it. So I'm just taking these objects, putting half their translation heights into the translate, just to put them on top of the origin. So I'll create a torus. So like putting in that half value in works quite well generally, but as soon as you've got like something that's got a slight scale to it, it takes it out of a whole number. So it makes it a bit trickier trying to obviously do the maths for this. So there isn't like another trick where you can obviously like snap your pivot to the lowest point. But when you get sort of complicated shapes, it sometimes gets a bit trickier just to get at the very bottom point. But as you can see in this case, it's working fine. And sometimes you actually don't want to actually move your pivot, because like say if this is like a door knocker or something, for instance, like I don't actually want to have to move my pivot down there, then move it back sort of thing, and try and get into the right place. So this is where a real handy feature inside the Dark Arts toolset comes into play. So I'll just stick these objects here and move them down, and you'll see this button down the bottom. And just by the way, if you put your mouse over any other tools, they'll come with just little help notes, and they'll also share in the bottom left hand side of the screen. So with all these objects selected, if I click this what's called the ground snap, it does what you imagine and snaps all these objects to the ground, which is obviously really handy if I'm like scaling these up slightly and I just want them to sit on my ground. And if I create just a simple plain object, just so I can get an idea of my contacts and that. So as you can see, everything's like sitting perfectly on the ground. So a real just simple feature, and it's just such a time saver. So especially if I'm like rotating objects around, I don't have to figure out again, are they touching the ground, are they going beneath it or so, So just by selecting all these, I can click the ground snap, and everything's perfectly making perfect contact with the ground. So one of the other really cool things inside the Dark Arts toolset is that, or for the ground plane snap, is that if I create just a quick table, so I'll put this up here, stretch that guy out, make it a bit more like a table, like so, and I'll just make this 5 units high. So as you can see, 5 units. So now I want these objects here just to be sitting on top of my table. So if I type a value inside of the Dark Arts text field up here, like this particular text field, like a lot of the values that you type in it will integrate real nicely into a lot of the other bits of the toolset. So I'm going to put in 5 for the moment. As you can see, our table's 5 units high. Press enter and click on the ground snap. And as you can see, it snaps at 5 units high, so we're sitting perfectly on top of our table. And if you look at just a little bit of ambient occlusion, showing our contacts, we're getting perfect contact with that table. So it's just a real nice time saver for you. It's one of the other nice sort of things about the ground snap is it also works on negative values. So if I put -2 in, for instance, click the ground snap, and as you can see, we're 2 units below the origin. So a real handy feature. As I said, you probably had to do that sort of function like 1,000 times, and you probably always wondered why Autodesk hasn't implemented something like this of their own accord. But okay, so that's the first tool out of the way. Next we'll go into the scene setup.